everybody. I'm Suzanne A. Wells, your host, and you have landed on episode number 53 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is March 23rd, 2022. Dawn File is my guest in this episode, and she is a shining example of how eBay can work during retirement, as eBay is a major part of this chapter of her life that she is loving every day. Before we jump into the chat, let's do a quick calendar check-in. We're going to jump ahead to March 28th, where it says, padded mailer won't close? Pop a few bubbles around the open end to create more space. So, right, I've been in that situation where sometimes you just need a teensy bit more room to get that bubble mailer to close. And this is a not so magical trick to make that happen. Really easy, but you might not have thought of it, especially if it's the padded flat rate mailer and you really want to get that item in there. And if you don't have your 2022 interactive calendar/planner, they are available in my eBay store. We still have a lot of 2022 left, so even though it's March, the information in the calendar will be useful all year long. Okay, now let's get into the chat with Dawn.
Okay, listeners, in this episode, we have Dawn with us, and I have been watching her on the Money Making Mondays and the $100 sales threads, and you've just been doing amazing lately.
So thank you, Suzanne. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So say hi to the listeners.
Hi, listeners, and I'm excited to talk about eBay. I love it.
Okay, great. Well, we had a little technical struggle to get Dawn on Zoom, but she learned it. So that's what I love about doing these podcasts, is like we can see each other, and a lot of people are like, oh, that was my first time. So now you know how to do it.
I do. Now I know how to do Zoom.
Right. Okay. You're what am I trying to say here? You're on board with technology for 2022. So now yes, you can Zoom with anybody.
That's right.
Okay, well, let's start off with where you're located.
Okay, I'm located in Melbourne, Florida, on the East Coast. A lot of people know it from Cocoa Beach, or also where all the shuttles, Cape Canaveral. So I live in that same county.
Thrifting is very good there, isn't it?
It is very good. We have a lot of retirees, a lot of people that come down from, say, New York. And so there are endless amounts of inventory to find here.
Excellent. So it is about being at the right place at the right time.
It is.
Right. Okay. Well, let's start off with how you got started on eBay.
Okay, well, approximately about 7.5 years ago, I started dating a tennis partner of mine, and he did local sales. He would go to garage sales and different avenues, and he would sell on either Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. And I had been to some garage sales when I had kids growing up just for fun, but I really did not know anything about reselling. And so we would do that on the weekends. And then I was like, this is fun. And I started buying a few things and selling them on the same platforms. And then all of a sudden I was like, I think there's something called eBay. And I looked up and I started doing it. And I got hooked.
Okay. So are you still with this person that got you started?
No, I'm not. So after about 3 years, we went our ways. We still see each other at sales. And I mean, we're still friends, but we're not dating anymore. But through that, I was like, just went crazy, and I love eBay.
Well, there's that saying that people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So
Exactly.
he was there for a reason, got you into eBay.
He did, and he changed my life because I was a business manager for 2 medical facilities for 15 years
Oh,
and,
wow.
worked full time. And when I started doing eBay, I loved it so much. My goal from the very beginning was to be able to do it full time. And
Mhm.
now I've been doing it for full time for 3 years this past January.
Oh,
And so I was able to,
congratulations.
thank you. So I was able to leave that business, and I am single and I only do it myself. And I've been able to support myself and make more money than I did in my career for the last 3 years.
Oh my gosh, good for you. Good
Yes.
for you. So was leaving your full-time job a big decision, or did things just kind of line up for you?
Well, originally, the first place that I worked for 11 years when I was dating my tennis partner, he had to have a major surgery. And at the same time, the company was going privatized. It was a state agency. And everyone was leaving, all of my supervisors and things like that. And I was the last one. And the new people they brought on didn't have the same vision, and the company was changing. So I said, oh, this would be a good time to like be able to help him. And I could do eBay as my income. And we were living together, so I didn't need as much income and I could try it. And so I did that. And then when the relationship ended, then I did go back to another company. And for that year, I studied eBay whenever I could. And then after about a year and a half, I quit that company and went full time. So it was scary, but also it was exciting, and I've never looked back.
Now, you're not old enough to be getting any Social Security or anything.
No.
Okay, so that's coming at some point, so you can,
Yeah, a few more years, I'll be able to do
if it's
that.
still there and that kind of thing. But
But I'm hoping that, like, I see so many people in your group and on your podcasts that, are retired and they do it. And so I'm hoping that to keep on doing that for many more years.
right, I got the annual Social Security email. Check your, you can check all your numbers and play around with, if you want to start getting Social Security when you're this age, like 62, 65, and playing with the numbers. And it's quite a ways away for me, but I'm still checking on it because I know as you get older, you can't really do as much. You don't want to do as much. You want to slow things down and travel, or not be completely glued to your business all the time. I mean, I think we'll always do it, those of us that love it. But it's like, oh, it'll be nice to know in 10 years I could get this money that would supplement everything else I'm doing. So
Yes. And because I worked for the state for 11 years, I do have a small pension also that I will be able to draw from. So
good for you.
yes.
Okay, well, let's talk about where you get your items, and like only thrift stores or estate sales, or how are you doing that now?
Yes. So originally I did start off like with garage sales, and then I started, doing thrift stores, and then I slowly moved to estate sales. And I know a lot of people think, oh, you go to estate sales, and there are, in my area, there are usually like I would say average 6 to 8, but there could be more or there could be a few less, but every week they are. And as my business progressed, I like going to garage sales, and I sometimes still do with my daughter, which I'll tell you about later, but I'll go to those. But I like just doing the least amount of work for the most amount of money. And so they know me at the estate sales. They all know me. And so I can go on the first day or the last day, and it's usually around my schedule. I will go and I'm able to find items. And I actually like it when it's a huge sale and I can load up my vehicle and then I have that inventory, and I don't have to go again for a while unless I see a sale that really interests me. So I would say my number one is estate sales. I do a couple of auctions. And then there is a couple of local thrift stores. And if I get a text that says 50% off, and I'm not busy during the days that is the 50% off, I might go to those.
Right.
But mostly
Sounds
estate
like,
sales is my number one, actually.
sounds like you have a system.
I do.
And I commend you for that, because there's so many shiny things in this business. Like, oh, let's drop in that thrift store and let's go over here and there's an estate sale. And like, you're running all over the place without a plan. And
Yes.
that eats up time.
Yes.
If you don't have a plan. So I like that you have a method for the madness. Do you look at the estate sales online and preview the items first?
I do, but I also learned that I can look on there and I'll say, oh, it doesn't look like they have anything that much, those many items, or what not that I look for anything particular, because I do sell anything and everything, but I'll be like, oh, this doesn't look like there's that many high-end items, that might not be, but then I'll be in that area and I'll go there, and then there's amazing things. They don't know always what are the good things, so they don't take pictures of it. And then so I've learned that the pictures aren't always what I should go by. So every week I do look, and then some weeks I just don't feel like going, so then I don't. But if there is a big sale there's a lot of $1 million homes where I live, so when they're doing those and it looks like it's really full, then I definitely try to go to those.
Yeah, I've tried previewing estate sales just, all along during this eBay journey. And it seems like, at least the ones in my area, really only show the furniture and the paintings, the wall art, and the glassware, and if there's any silver. And what I want is like this laundry room jumble of stuff to look through,
right.
Or the closet in the master bedroom, just like, what's in there?
I love the garage stuff. So I like it when the garage is filled. You'd be surprised how many people buy items to do something to their home and then they never get around to it. So I have found so many electronic items and just fixer-upper type things in the garage. And in the garage, they always have a guy that is out there that prices things, and he has low prices. And I bought so many $1 to $5 items that sell for $50 to $200 out in the garage. So I used to sell a lot of circuit breakers. Like, they never seem to be broken. I've never had a return circuit breaker, and I have bought them and they sell for a lot of money. And there's even companies that will buy them, other eBayers, and then they clean them up and refurbish them, and then they sell them for more. But like, I would get like a whole box for $20, and if they could sell for $500, it's just crazy.
I mean, that's just hiding in plain sight. You just never know what people are going to leave behind. And once you sell it, then you're going to remember it because you sold that thing before.
And literally, I just go and look, and it was at a garage sale, and it was a box of them. And I'm like, every time I go somewhere, I try to learn something new. I'll look around, and then, I'll know things, and not that I still look them up because I want to make sure. But I'll try to look up something new, and that, I think I probably was with somebody and they were probably still looking, and I was like, oh, circuit breakers, I wonder what these are worth. And I looked them up and saw, wow, like if you can get like 100 amp one, they can sell for, $50 or $60. And here's the whole box. And I guess somebody just upgrades their system. And even though those circuit breakers are still working, they took them all out and got new ones, and they just want to get rid of them.
What an odd thing to look for.
Exactly. And that's what I said. I've gotten to where I love that kind of those things. And one right where I lived on the next street, it's an industrial street, and that business was going out of sale. And he had been in business for many years, and it was a huge, huge warehouse. And they were almost just like, it was like they were giving it away. You would just fill up boxes and they'd say $75. And I went there and I just started grabbing parts. I didn't even know what they were. I like looked up one and I'm like, this is some kind of car part. And it was worth like $200. So then I just started grabbing things. And they even had it extended till Monday. They're usually, maybe Thursday through Sunday or Friday through Sunday. They had it on Monday. I went back again and I just filled up, and there was circuit breakers there that I sold for $500, and it was all just thrown in a box, and they never, I think I got 3 different loads, and the most I paid was $75 for like boxes of stuff.
I don't even know that I know what a circuit breaker looks like. I'm gonna have to look that up and see.
Yeah, they're black and they have, yeah.
I've seen them, but I don't know what they are.
Well, in your house where you like turn on the circuit breaker, like for like if your dryer gets blown, if something goes out, it's just those little black things, but they like can be switch. Bigger.
Yeah.
Yes, a little switch.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna put that on my list.
I've gotten into that kind of thing because a lot of that sells for money that you don't even need to know anything about it.
Well, and it's overlooked, there's people looking for the jewelry or, whatever their specialty is, but there's always going to be things that are overlooked.
Yes.
Because this business always changes, And
I believe there are a lot of resellers in my county. And we must all look for different things because, like I said, just like other people have said on your podcast, I can go on the last day and fill up my car still because what they're looking for must be something different than I'm looking for, or they've overlooked things. So, and the same with the state sale people. I think sometimes they just know things from the past, like Linux. There's like the white Linux with the gold or the cream with that. But that's not really worth that much anymore. And they'll have a lot of money on that. And then there's other items that they just have like $1 and it's worth a lot of money. So they can't keep up with it either.
And you're like, this is such a dumb item. I sold a Hallmark ornament. It was the satin covered ball. It was like plastic covered with satin with Baby's First Christmas, 1979. And it was in the box. And I'm like, yeah, somebody's probably going to want this. It wasn't, Christopher Radko. It wasn't Kurt Adler, these very expensive ones. And it's just a dumb piece of plastic. And that sold for $79.
Yes.
And it's like, it doesn't have to be the material it's made of. It's the nostalgia and the emotional part that people pay for. So I was also going to say that, I do mostly thrift stores at this point, and most of ours have the date on the sticker, like when it was put out. And I'll find things that have been there over a month. And I'm like, how is this still here? This beautiful pair of Naote shoes in beautiful condition. How is this still here? And I look at it really closely, like there's got to be something wrong with it if it's still here. The sole is coming unglued or whatever. And no, so you're right. It's just about who's been there before you and what they know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now you sold a candle for $130.
I did.
What's the story on that? Yeah. What's the story there?
The story is I actually love candles. Because I like when I work from home now, if I'm here, I like to burn a candle, and I like, if I'm going to be home working that day, then I like to have that. So there's always these candles that are like not burned. They're brand new.
You're creating an environment. I do that too. And it's the music and the candle and the coffee and the, looking out the window. And it's just, you create your little sanctuary to put on your store. Yep.
So I love candles. And so whenever I see them, even if they're partially like, especially like Yankee candles, if they're half full or whatever, and it's a fragrance I like, I pick them up and they're always under $5. They're usually $2 or $3. And I was at a house and there was several candles that were new. And I also get them not only for myself, I'll get them. And I play a lot of tennis, and, we will exchange gifts, little gifts and things. And candle is something that, almost everyone likes. So sometimes if that person, like, there's not a certain thing, or I just need a little gift, a candle is always there. So I'll always get the candles. And if they're new, I'll look them up and, usually, they're like $25 or things like that. And sometimes I'll list them, but then if I need a gift and I don't have anything, I'll just take the item down and give the gift.
Oh, I
So
think
this was-
we were twins separated at birth, because I do the same. I have a whole candle shelf, and they're like, they could be Walmart, they could be White Barn, it's just whatever. Because I look it up first. I've got 2 Yankees that are retired, and I've got $100 on those. But the other ones, I just enjoy them, and it's the perfect gift if you need something on the spur of the moment. Oh, everybody likes a candle, and they're consumable, so it's going to get used up, and it's not just going to sit on somebody's shelf. And then also the ones that you're selling are consumable, so there's going to be people looking for their favorites and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I always look for candles.
So that candle, I looked it up, and it wasn't the exact fragrance, but it was the exact size. And I had saw that it sold for $199. So like me, I don't mind waiting on anything. So I usually will price things high and then put best offer. And so I thought, well, this might be a fragrance that somebody is looking for, since it's the same kind. So I listed it high, and then I put the best offer, and someone offered me, I think it was $130. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm always shocked by but that was one of my more shocking ones, that a candle that someone would actually pay $130 or $200 for a candle that is going to burn.
And what was the brand?
I can't remember.
Oh,
I didn't recognize it.
In the $100 sales video, I remember talking about it and thinking.
And it was from England. So,
okay.
But I don't recall the name, because it's not one that I even recognized.
Okay. Well, there's something about fragrances, whether it's, on your body or these candles, that trigger a memory. I had a lady buy a candle for me once, or was it? Yeah, it was for her mom, who was terminally ill. And she said this was her favorite scent. It was something like gardenia, something that you don't see all the time. And that, they would burn that in her room, so it would smell nice. And it was her favorite. And it was just very important to them to do all the things they could do for her to make her more comfortable and make it less depressing. And, she was like, oh, thank you so much for offering this. We've been looking for this. And I think it sold for like $30. It wasn't a huge sale, but it was that whole rehoming thing. And, it went to somebody who really, really wanted it, and it had meaning to them. And it's like, it was just a candle, but, you never know what it means to somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah. And you sold a little glass, was it a dragonfly?
Oh, yes. So that was one of those sales that I looked online, and it had a lot of Waterford and Lalique and some high-end name items. And I know I've heard you say that you don't like selling breakables.
Big breakables.
Breakables, yes.
Like a cookie jar.
Yes. China and things like that. Yes. But I actually do. And so I went there, and again, like I said, they know me, and this one estate sale is known for having like higher prices, but they also have they get the best. They get one of the, they get a lot of the houses that are the best. They like make everything nice and neat and organized, and they sticker everything. So I really like that. I don't have to ask the prices, and I don't like when they say, bring up everything. And then I don't think their price is good. So I really like this sale. So I'm like, okay, I know she's going to have high prices on a lot of things, but I know I'm going to be able to find things. And I went there, and her daughter also works for her business. And so I went straight to the Waterford, and I'm like, okay, the prices are too high on the first day. But then there was a table of all kinds of other things. And there was a nativity set that was Linux. And I was very interested in that. And so the daughter's my age, and she does some eBay too. And so then I'm like, what else is here that, looks like good money? And she goes, look at these are Lalique. And so I was like, okay. So then I'm like, how much are they? And this is what I mean. Her mom runs the store and she'll put high prices on certain things that I'll try to tell her. I'll say, look, it's not even selling for this much. And her daughter pointed it out to me, and there was 3 of them for $12. And so I didn't even look them up because I'm like, Lalique, I know I've, heard that many times and I'm just getting those. And then like the nativity set was like over $300, but it was a lot of pieces. And I looked it up, and like just the camel, or there was an elephant, I think, that was worth $300. Well, when you're there and you're doing it quickly, it was a different elephant. So, but the elephant that I had still sold for $175. And through some other resellers that I've watched, I've learned that instead of me selling every item in whole, to break it up. So I bought that nativity set for like $325, and like 2 pieces sold for $325. And I still had like 18 more.
Oh
and
my gosh.
They've almost all sold because I got it back in like September, October, and they all sold through Christmas, and made a lot of money. But I also I ended up going the last day, and I got almost all the Waterford. And so the first day I bought like $1,200. And then the last day I bought another $1,000. But I had a very good fourth quarter, because it's great when you can buy those things for fourth quarter, because everyone's giving gifts. And so all 3 of those Lalique, you saw, like I listed the one, I think one sold for a little less. I think there was a clear one that sold for maybe 125, but then the other 2, which there was an amber one and a blue one, they both sold for $199, and I paid $12 for them. And
oh my gosh.
So,
well,
yeah.
And the nativity sets, like you said, some people keep it all together. Some people break it up, and in talking to other sellers, it's a time thing, they just want to get it listed because they know it's valuable, but, maybe they don't have time to list all 20 items separately. It depends on the price and everything.
Yes.
But, when people get out their decorations for Christmas and they're like, oh crap, the camel's broken, we need another one. And then that's when they go and then even after Christmas, if something breaks during the holidays or is worn out or there's a problem, then they may replace it after Christmas as they're putting everything away so that they will have it for next year.
Exactly. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
And I would say, you always ask, like, what's one of the favorite things? In Christmas is one of my favorite items to sell. And so it does sell all year. So I never wait to list anything, but I love getting, like, after Christmas, nobody wants at estate sales. They're like over it. And that's when I like to stock up. And I love selling Christmas dishes. The Linux Dimension holiday, it's like so popular. Almost every year I find it. And it might be closer to Christmas, but it sells, all year round. And I'll buy a whole set, and then I'll just usually do it in serving pieces, like, 5-piece or 4-piece. And those things can sell for like $100 a place setting, and, the other pieces and all of that. And so that's one of my favorites. And nativity sets. And I know I listed one of the items. I was totally shocked. I didn't even look this up, but I knew Pontini. Is that how you say it?
Pontinini. Yep. That's a big one.
And so I've always usually found it in littler pieces, and they're not always, worth a lot of money, but they do make good money, and they usually are not selling at estate sales for very much. They must not seem to know about that. But it was actually another reseller that I met through like a podcast. And so when he sees things that he knows that I like, or I see things, we'll message each other through Instagram, I think it is. And so he told me there's a bunch of stuff at this sale. And I'm like, okay. So I wasn't planning on going out, and I went there, and I went into the Christmas room, and I saw these, and I could tell that it was that, but I had never seen them in this big. I did not even look it up. I think it was like $37, and they weren't in good condition. They had a lot of like chips and breakage. I went home and I put them all on auction, and a gentleman in Italy, like, was bidding on them. And obviously some other people were bidding on them, but they were like, I had like 6 pieces. It was up to like over $1,000. And
Oh my
then he
gosh.
only paid for one.
Ah,
And so I'm like, okay, that's not good. But I already know that, like, so I sent out second offers to some people. I think one got bought by the second offer. And then I just listed the other pieces at the price that he was willing to pay. Cause I'm like, if he's willing to pay and other people, have bid too, they're going to be willing. And I listed one of the pieces sold for over $400
wow.
later on afterwards. And so I've sold all of those but one piece, and I have a bunch of offers on that. So I had no idea they were worth that much, but the bigger ones are like very hard to find, and they don't have to be in very good condition at all.
Oh, that's interesting. So let me
Yes.
just interject for the listeners in case you didn't know. When you do an auction and the winner does not pay, if you go on to your to the listing, it'll have an option to contact the next highest bidder. So you can say it's already scripted for you. You just send that out, and it says that the winning buyer didn't pay. Here's your chance to get it at your highest bid. And so all of that is automated. You don't have to go try to figure out who the second place, third place person is, or have to start over. A lot of people don't know that option is there, but it's very handy because their bids are going to be pretty close together.
Yes.
If it's the second place person.
Yes.
So yeah, that's don't just jump ship because your buyer didn't pay on auctions. You have that option. So anyway, just a little tidbit for the listeners.
The Christmas is my number one. And I will say I did try to get away from it, but I don't know why, but I have this fascination with glass. I love glasses. I love buying them for myself, and like wine glasses. And I mean, I usually end up using the same one, but I even have like a baker's rack and I display like some of the glass. Like I love the cobalt blue glasses, and I love the Murano colored, the different colored glasses. And so when I first started, I thought it was like so great. Like I would buy like, some glasses that I thought were cool for, 10 cents and 25 cents at garage sales. And then I would list them on eBay. And I was saying to the guy I was dating, I'd be like, oh, even if I make like $15, I just only spent $1. Well, obviously now I've progressed and I buy higher end glassware. But in my county, we're known for engineering companies. We have some of the largest engineering companies. And a tennis friend also sells on eBay. And she told me about an engineering company that gives away they get parts. And so the foam wrap and the bubble wrap and the peanuts, huge, like 20-gallon bags. And it used to be, I would call the gentleman and I would go meet him at like 9 p.m. and he would bring out bags, but they had so many people doing that it must've been interrupting their work. So they put out a cage that says, this is, like for recycling. And so I never have to buy any packing supplies. And so then I was like, oh, and because of my love for glassware, I sort of went back to that. And when you go to estate sales or thrift stores, people don't want to do that. And I have endless supplies of shipping supplies, and I've done it now for a few years that it's nothing to me. Like I can sit there in front of the TV and wrap up the items. I hardly ever have anything broken. If you looked at my feedback, they talk about like how much care is put into the packaging, and it doesn't take me long at all, because if you've done it, amount of time, they have foam pieces. So I put foam inside the box, and then I put the other items, and they pay. Like when people are looking for, a replacement piece, which a lot of times that's how I'm selling it. Or, I do put four glasses or things like that, but it's nothing at all. And every time I go, it's always at estate sales. And so I look it up, and if it's higher end or it's selling quickly, I will buy that. But even on the first day, I'll be looking at it and it'll be like maybe $100, and they'll be like, they just want to get rid of it. And so they'll give me such good deals. I can't turn it down. And it has just become like a staple of my business. Like I just went to an estate sale last week and I just saw the glasses and I'm like, these seem like high end. I don't know what they are, but I kind of recognize the etching on there, but I can't remember. And they were like $1 each. And I got 14 and I just looked them up yesterday and they're Gorham and the glasses sell for like 30 something each. And, I paid $1. So,
But yeah, a lot of the glassware doesn't have any markings. So you have to figure out what it is. And
right.
I think that's what keeps people away is, am I going to be able to figure out what this is? And so do you use like Google it? See, there I go.
I don't use that, but I use words. And my daughter, I taught my daughter, and now she does eBay also.
Mhm.
And she'll ask me, what word should I use to look this up? Like somehow I'm just able to. And so I use replacement.com a lot.
Yeah.
So,
It's a great resource.
so I go in and I use them for my pricing. I mean, along with Tierra Peak and, what they're selling for. But a lot of times I use their price and then I just put it a little less than what it's selling on there. And I'm sure many times they are buying my things. I can tell by some of the ways they'll send me messages and things that they're, somebody has gone on there and said, help me find a piece. And then, they're trying to get it. So, yes.
So do you just go on replacements and just scroll through the crystal until you see it? Or is there a faster way?
No, usually I will, but there's ways to, it'll say like trim. So like if mine has gold or silver or platinum trim, I'll put that. So that cuts it down. And then sometimes there's just different things that you can check to, and then I will scroll down, or the coloring, or I'll put that into eBay. And then sometimes I'll find it and then I'll go on replacement.com to make sure that they have it, by the right name. And I also do use WorthPoint. And because I sell a lot of collectibles in China, it's $20 a month. And that has, like those, the Fontini, that was not even on eBay because they're so rare. But then I saw how much they had sold in the past. And that's how I knew to price mine higher. Or I decided because it was near Christmas to put it on auction. I don't do a lot of auctions. Unless I think that it's an item that could vary and you're not sure.
Now you mentioned a few minutes ago that there isn't a lot of interest in glassware at thrift stores and estate sales, that people just
Correct.
don't want it. So that's an opportunity for you.
It is. Some people like the Waterford, like it had like the tags on it. And so I think somebody came and bought, there had been red. So there was a Christmas and, it was approaching that. Those did get sold and probably to somebody that just wanted them. But like I said, like sometimes I'll even actually pay, like, I think there was probably a couple Waterford that like were only worth like twice that. But I knew I had other items and I look at the big picture and I'm like, okay, like I spent $1,000 or $1,200, what sounds like a lot. And back in the day, like, I was trying to buy dollar items, but what I realized is I can buy $1,200 and I had so many items and just a few items will pay for everything. And then I know Waterford is a popular brand and it will still get me $150, even if I paid $75. I like to make more than double, but it really is going to be all profit because there's other items here that they've undercut. Like at that same estate sale, there was some tennis shoes that were new and it had just the tongue like from Rolling Stones. Well, I could only find one shoe and I had them all looking. Well, while I was looking for the other shoe, there was the same shoe, but with a different print and it was real wild. And I took it home and I said to my daughter, I don't know this brand and I don't even know what this pattern is, but she's younger and she found it. And it ended up, it was from a runway and somebody in Japan bought them for $200 and I got that for $10.
Oh my gosh.
So like I said, those little each $12, that all added up and paid for all of the things. And then I had all the other high-end items. So
on your glassware, let's say you find 6 matching Waterford goblets.
yes.
Do you do a listing like a multi-quantity so they can buy however many they want, or do you do the complete set?
Yeah, I would usually either do like pairs of two or individual. And it will be how they've sold. Like if I see, like other people selling them, kind of like the replacement.com and they just putting them as singles and they're getting a good amount of money, then I might do it that way. Or I might, if I had six, I might do a couple and then I'll do individuals. Especially like if I have five, I might do two singles and, two doubles or two pairs and then a single. So I just mix it up based on what I'm seeing. And
Yeah, and for the listeners, you don't have to do it one way or the other. You could do it as a, quantity, multi-quantity where they can buy one or six. If that doesn't move in a few months, then switch it over to sets of two, or change it up, do something different and see what works, because there's really no right or wrong. It's just, I feel like listing a quantity is better because then you're getting those people who only want one.
Right.
Something broke, they're replacing it. But, there's all kinds of buyers out there. And a lot of the glassware, I understand, is going for these weddings, just, these sort of rustic in a barn wedding.
Yes.
They're buying the mason jars and just all kinds of things for these weddings, and they're always needing to buy more because things get broken. If you're a caterer or a wedding specialist, you've got a storage unit full of different things depending on your client's taste. And, people drink at weddings and stuff gets broken and they're replacing it. So
yes,
that might be another one of your customers is caterers and, wedding planners.
And I believe in one set of the Waterford glasses, someone reached out to me and said that they had broken one, and I had listed them as a pair. And they said, "Would you be willing to sell one?" And they were willing to pay more for a single than the half price. And I said, "Yes, I will." And so I usually, I have learned that like whenever I put them in pairs, I always do a single afterwards. So then I didn't have to take them out and retake the pictures. I just took it down and used the single picture after that. So I have people reach out to me all the time for things like that. And I will say when I do multiples though, that's what, like a lot of China, you don't know the price of how much it is going to be to ship and things like that. And so I will put the price of the shipping in it just because I want to make more money. So when I, I'll know approximately how much it's going to be from here because I live in Florida. So I always do it to like Seattle. Then I'll put that in the price. And then if they're buying three of them, they're actually paying more than if, I put a lower price and then shipping, and then it's the combined shipping. So I try to, get as much as I can for the item. So I will just put free shipping and then they're actually paying for all three. Or if I think that I might use the volume pricing and then I give the percentage, a discount because I'm saving money because it's free shipping. So if they buy two, then it's better that one person buy two and it's less shipping to put the two together. So
right.
I will do that.
How many items do you have in your store now? How many listings?
Yeah, I have about 572. I looked this morning, but I have had up to 700 recently. When I was doing it part-time, I never could get over 100. But when I started going full-time, I tried to really build it up, and I tried to do like 10 listings a day, and I got it up there. But in December, I became a grandmother for the first time. And so thank you. So I have a little granddaughter. And so I've been spending a lot of time with her. And so my listings have kind of dropped from 700 because I am not listing every day because I am busy.
Well, you're doing something more important. And it's great that is it your daughter or your son?
It's my daughter. So
okay. So that she's close enough to where you can be there to help her, because
yes,
that's really a gift when you have your mom nearby to help you with a new baby and all of that. So
I have two adult daughters, that live within like 15 minutes and with their husbands, and they both got married like 2 weeks apart, at 2.5 years ago. And then my younger daughter, she just had her her and her husband had their first baby. And I actually, because I work from home, she is going back to work 2 days a week, only because I said I would love to watch her. And my other passion is tennis, and I play tennis for like about 4 times a week.
Wow.
And so I told her I could watch her on 2 of the days that I don't play tennis. And so it starts next week. So I do have to, I've heard your listener, you're from other podcasts about taking photos. So I'm going to try to do my pictures ahead of time. And then when my granddaughter is sleeping, I will try to post some of the listings from there when I'm there.
Yeah, well,
so
what
we'll
I
see how
do,
this-
like if I'm going out of town to visit a friend and I'm going to be gone for 3 or 4 days, is I take the pictures and then I have just a basic spiral notebook and I write down, you know, Charter Club cashmere sweater, and I write the measurements and I weigh it, and I have all that in a notebook for maybe 25 items. So I can just pull out my laptop. I've got the pictures, I've got the information, and it's just data entry. I mean, and you can just kind of mindlessly do that and get a few listings up in, dead space, when your grandbaby's sleeping, all that kind of stuff. So that's even my process at home now. I'll do 10 items, I'll write everything down, and then I can just relax on the couch and half watch a show and do my listings because I don't have to have the item with me. I've written down the information.
Right.
So
I have to be good about that, because the one thing most people don't like listing, but I don't like taking photos, and I don't know why. So I love researching. I love doing the listing, but I don't like taking the photos. And I've even tried hiring some people, but it never seems to work. They don't, I think because it takes a while, and, like you're trying to give them fair pay, but it never seems to work. So, but one time when I quit, I did eBay for a year. Then I did try Amazon, and I did hear one of your podcasts about that. And I gave it a good year. And I was going out and buying like $10,000 worth of stuff a month and packing it up and sending it. And what I realized, I did like hit a goal I had to make a certain amount, but it was taking so much time, and like going out and spending that many hours and then coming home and, like you said, doing all the labels and doing all of that. And I did not like it. So the next year I said, I'm going to put as much effort into eBay and see. And I made the same number, like within just a couple thousand, but I made so much more profit and I worked so much less. And then I'm like, okay, I don't mind taking pictures as much as like going out. I can sit in my office and take the pictures instead of being out in these stores, driving from place to place. And, I had to drive to Orlando and to get all of the merchandise when I would find a hot item. And some people like that, but I did not. And
you were doing retail arbitrage.
Yes, I was.
Okay. And that's just a completely different way to do this. You're always chasing the next product.
Yes.
You could spend thousands of dollars on something and then, not allowed anymore, or everybody figures it out and the prices drop and you can't even liquidate at what you paid for it. And I didn't like the surprise aspect of, Amazon.
And the scammers.
Yeah. It was too stressful for me. And I really like going to the thrift store and just taking my time. I'm a very slow shopper. It's a meditative experience for me. Just, the music is nice. Most of the stores are really big where I am, and they're clean. And it's just, I kind of go into my little bubble and just, I'm slow, but I enjoy it. I don't like being rushed. That is very stressful for me. And,
Yes.
I get a stomach ache and I don't feel well. And it's just, I like to do things slow, and I can. That's fine. I get plenty done.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good that you tried Amazon just to see
I
if you
did.
like it, because
I did.
a lot of people love it. And that's exciting to them to be chasing that next product. And
Right.
but it's a lot of risk because you have to buy it up front and then hope you can sell all of it. Where when you're going to estate sales and thrift stores, you can just cherry pick what you want.
Right.
And like you said, you're moving towards higher dollar items so that you don't have to do as many.
Right.
So
And not
how
work
many,
as much.
right. Well, it's not, it's, I don't want to sound lazy, like I don't want to work as much, but it's more efficient. It
Yes.
takes you as long to take pictures of that $130 candle as it does to take pictures of a, $20 bathing suit. So
Yes.
why not go for the bigger scores? So how many hours would you say you spend on your eBay a week?
25.
Okay. So you're
So
really,
I did look at my numbers because, like you, I'm really into my numbers. And in the beginning, I did the spreadsheet, and I still do have a spreadsheet, but I did switch when I was working, and I was doing it part time. That's when I was like, oh, I'm going to try, because I have a little extra money. I went to GoDaddy. And I love that. And like I said, I do still have a spreadsheet that I put certain things on, but I love that it learns. So I'm at the estate sales, most of them, because they know me, they let me use my business card, and it just goes in and it says cost of goods purchased. And so, GoDaddy knows everything. So that helped me not have to do that, even though I like going on Friday and I pay off whatever I spend, personally and business, so that I never I never have interest or anything like that. But I use that. And so I looked, and 2 years ago, I think it was like I made like $2,000 difference the last 2 years, which is so crazy that it would be that close. But I looked, and 2 years ago, I sold just almost 2,700 items. And this last year, I sold the same amount, but I only sold 1,594. So just almost 1,600. So a lot less, but made the same amount. And my cost this past year, the average cost of price of item was $59 per item.
average sale price.
Yes.
Wow.
And it was almost double.
So does that include shipping, or is that just for the item?
Yes, it does include shipping.
Okay. So it's great that you track that. And as far as bookkeeping, I don't really even teach that anymore because most people don't want to hear it. Those videos don't get any views. People don't like it, but there's so many choices out there now. Just Google eBay spreadsheet, eBay accounting, and there's so much out there, and they're different. So it's really just finding one that you like, that you're going to keep up with. And there's just so many options. But my best advice on that is to choose one that has some sort of help, whether it's email help, online help. If you pay for a system, you need to be able to utilize a help service, because hey, not everybody's great with spreadsheets, and you're going to have questions. And that's a valuable piece of that investment, is knowing that you can get preferably a human being to help you when you need, when you have questions about how to do the spreadsheet or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are getting to the end. So the last question I ask is, what would you suggest for people that are just getting into this or want to make this their full-time income?
Well, for myself, I just wanted to not just pick one category. I get bored easily, and I like to learn new things. So I just go out and sell in every category. I watched lots of videos, your videos, especially the 100 and over. And I love now that you're doing the 350. And then what I did was, then when I looked on that thread, and we know there are a few people that we see over and over again, I went and saved their stores, and through other videos, some other high end selling people. And I when I do have downtime, I will go in and look at what they are selling and what they have sold. And that's really how I've brought in my buying power. And I look for those items. And so my goal really was to just learn eBay in every single way. And I even sold my townhome because it did not fit with my business practice, having to take the items upstairs and downstairs.
Stairs, right.
I bought a truck. I mean, I really just loved eBay so much that I changed my life.
Mhm.
And I read that, like, if you retire when you're like 55, you will live longer because the stress of working for a job that you didn't like. And I felt that, like, the medical business was so stressful that I don't even consider eBay a job, even though it completely supports me.
Uh-huh.
It's something that I love, that I think I will be able to live longer because I love what I'm doing. And I don't even have to put that many hours. I get to play tennis so many days,
Right.
and
You
I
can
do
fit in all
eBay
the fun
around
stuff. Yeah.
but yeah, like, just watch and research and, find things that you like to sell that make more money, and just keep, looking for higher end things in those categories. I mean, they're everywhere.
Mhm. Well, and it is heartbreaking to hear people say, "Oh, I hate my job and I've got to do it for 5 more years, 3 more years to get their pension, their retirement, whatever." Or they just are stuck in a soul sucking job and they don't know what to do. They don't know, or they're afraid to uh, start something new or whatever. But eBay has no barriers to entry. Anybody can start. So I really, it is heartbreaking to hear people hate to get up every day and go to this job they don't like. And we are so lucky that we get to do this, that it's been a lot of work to figure it out and make it work so that it supports you. And I was going to say something else.
Well, when I first started, I would talk to my daughters so much about it. They probably were sick of hearing about it. And my one daughter was a teacher, and she kept on getting second jobs. And I said, why don't you just do this? You are, like, so good on the computer and on your phone.
Uh-huh.
And I went down, she was living in Miami, and I went down, and one day, like, she went the weekend before, and she FaceTimed me, and she was looking up some, and she was finding some things. And I went down that weekend and I showed her, and she listed like 5 items, and we went to go to lunch, and one of her items sold for $75. And from then on, she was hooked, and it's so much fun. We talk every day, and we go sourcing sometimes to get, we go to estate sales and different things. And so every day we'll be like, oh, we sold this and that. It's so great to have somebody. I know, but when I see your daughter,
right.
It's so much fun to have finally someone to talk to about it.
Yeah. Well, back to what you said about following other sellers. That's a great idea. Find somebody who is successful and watch what they do. That's how you become successful. And for the listeners who don't know, you just go to whoever's store, and underneath it says save this seller, I think, and there's a little heart, and you just click on the heart, and you can set up your notifications to be notified when they list new items. I mean, I know I have a lot of people, I think it's like 6,000 that follow my store.
Wow,
because they're looking at, that's why it's there, is they're looking at what I'm listing and how I do my pictures and the titles. And, it's a teaching store, and it's a real store too. But so that's a wonderful idea to watch people who are already successful. You can go and look at their sold items and see what they're selling. And it doesn't always give you the correct price if it's sold on offer. So you need to plug the item into Terapeak to get that true price. But just for the listeners, if you want to be successful, there's plenty of people out there who are already doing it, and just observe them. You don't have to message them. You don't have to interact. Just watch. And as I say, watch and learn.
Right. And when my daughter, I'm sure it's the same with you, because she's a different generation. She taught, like, she would copy me and I copy her. Like, she learned, and I have to just tell you this, it's like a funny story. And her grandfather always tells his friends, she was in Miami, and like she didn't even discuss it with me. She just said, Mom, I just won an auction. And I go, what did you buy down in Miami? She bought empty shoe, belt, and purse boxes of high-end items.
Mhm.
And it was like I think it was over like 75 boxes from some $1 million mansion in Miami. And I'm like, what are you doing buying empty boxes? And she goes, I looked up a couple. Just one box sold for like $95. And she only paid, like it was like $75 for all these empty boxes. And I'm like, and from that time on, she would look at auctions. And I remember one time she was driving 2 hours, and I'm like, I don't want to drive 2 hours. Well, then she had a hearing aid. She got for $25 2 hearing aids, and she sold them each for over $2,000. And I'm like, I've been doing it for 5 years and never had a $2,000 sale.
You're
like,
killing it.
and then I started doing the auction and driving the 2 hours. And so like she teaches me things and I teach her things. So it's awesome.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up because you have to get to tennis. But
yes.
Dawn's last name is spelled
Pfeil, and it's pronounced file.
Yes. So look for her on the Money Making Mondays because she is she's on fire right now.
I am.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on, and we will see you on the group.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Have fun at tennis.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Thank you, Dawn, for coming on the podcast and sharing your business and your personal life with us. And thank you, listeners, for joining us for this episode. I'm going to end with a motivational quote from Laura Ingalls Wilder, one of my favorite writers. She said, "The real things haven't changed. It is still best to be honest and truthful, to make the most of what we have, to be happy with simple pleasures, and to have courage when things go wrong." And that is wonderful advice, no matter what time you are living in. Okay, that wraps up episode number 53. I hope you have an outstanding week on eBay, and I'll be back next week with another seller chat. Bye, everybody.